Yahweh calls Moses up to the mountain to give the account of the days. What you don't know. Welcome to the Way of the Cross channel. In this channel, we deal with biblical issues which are least expounded and also with history on those issues which would help anyone join the dots while reading the scriptures. Welcome and join us. Please do not forget to subscribe. We will be very grateful. Take whatever we say with a pinch of salt. But please go and do your own research to see if it's true or not. Take your time to write your comments below. We will appreciate it. In this video, we are going to learn from the Book of Jubilees about how Moses was given history of the division of the days of the Torah and of the testimony, of the events of the years, of their year, weeks, festivals of the covenant, of their Shabbats, of their Jubilees throughout all the years of the world, as Yahweh spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, when he went up to receive the tables of the Torah and of the commandment, according to the voice of Yahweh, as he said to him, "Go up to the top of the mountain." The Book of Jubilees is an apocryphal retelling of events from the books of Genesis and Exodus, presented as an angel's revelation to Moses as Moses ascended Mount Sinai. Composed in the 2nd century BCE, it divides history into periods of 49 years, hence the title Jubilees, which in a biblical context refers to the end of a 49-year period, and provides dates for biblical events. While parts of the book are in line with biblical narrative, much of it contains additions, gaps, or deeper explanations to biblical stories and laws. Let us look at what it says about these events. Moses is traditionally considered the author of Genesis. But for over 2 centuries, one of the most contested questions in biblical scholarship has been who wrote the book of Genesis and when. The authors of the New Testament, and even Jesus himself, appear to credit Moses as the author of Genesis. Luke 24:27 says, "Then Jesus took them through the writings of Moses and all the prophets, explaining from all the scriptures the things concerning himself." Evangelicals in the same coin agree that Moses wrote Genesis and that the first 5 Bible books are the books of Moses. Genesis is the first book of the Bible and one of the 5 books of the Pentateuch. Several other books of the Pentateuch include passages that mention Moses recording events and writing down what God says. The question is, why don't scholars agree? There are passages in Genesis that Moses could not have written because they describe events that happened after his death, known as post-Mosaica passages. And there are others that would simply be awkward for Moses to write, which are referred to as amosaica, such as Numbers 12.4. If these passages were added later, how do we know what Moses did and didn't write? So the real question is, did Moses write Genesis or not? From Exodus 19:1, we find that Moses and the Israelites traveled through the wilderness. They came to a mountain called Mount Sinai. Moses climbed the mountain to speak to the Lord. The Lord told Moses that he wanted to talk to the Israelites face to face. Next, we observe that in Exodus 19:3, 9:11, that the Israelites came to the base of Mount Sinai, and the Lord caused a cloud of smoke to surround the mountain. The Lord was in the cloud. He spoke to the Israelites and gave them commandments. The mountain shook as he talked. Furthermore, in Exodus 19:16-19, we notice that the Israelites were afraid. They asked Moses to speak with the Lord so that Moses could tell them what the Lord wanted. Consequently, in Exodus 20:18-19, we espy that Moses took Aaron and 70 Israelite elders to the mountain to receive more of the Lord's teachings. The Lord appeared to them. Then the Lord told Moses to leave the elders and go even higher up the mountain. Moses obeyed. The Lord used his finger to write his law and commandments on stone tablets. For 40 days, the Lord taught Moses many things. Anyway, let's dive right into Jubilees 1. And it came to pass in the 1st year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, 2450 Anno Mundi, that Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Come up to me on the mount, and I will give you 2 tables of stone of the Torah and of the commandment which I have written, that you may teach them." And Moshe went up into the mount of Yahweh, and the splendor of Yahweh abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moshe on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the splendor of Yahweh was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount. And Moshe was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights, and Yahweh taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the Torah and of the testimony.
And he said, Incline your heart to every word which I shall speak to you on this mount, and write them in a book in order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have wrought in transgressing the covenant, which I established between me and you for their generations this day on Mount Sinai. And thus it will come to pass when all these things come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been truly with them. And do you write for yourself all these words which I declare unto you this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swore to their fathers, to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob, saying, Unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. And they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, to gods, which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation, and this witness shall be heard for a witness against them. For they will forget all my commandments, even all that I command them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their gods, and these will prove unto them an offense and a tribulation and an affliction and a snare. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments, and the festivals of my covenant and my Shabbats, and my Kodesh place which I have hallowed for myself in their midst, and my tabernacle and my sanctuary, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there. And they will make to themselves high places and groves and graven images, and they will worship, each his own, graven image, so as to go astray, and they will sacrifice their children to demons, and to all the works of the error of their hearts. And I will send witnesses unto them, that I may witness against them, but they will not hear, and will slay the witnesses also, and they will persecute those who seek the Torah, and they will abrogate and change everything so as to work evil before my eyes. And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity, and for a prey, and for devouring, and I will remove them from the midst of the land, and I will scatter them amongst the Gentiles. And they will forget all my Torah and all my commandments and all my judgments, and will go astray as to new months, and Shabbats, and festivals, and jubilees, and ordinances. And after this they will turn to me from amongst the Gentiles with all their heart, and with all their soul, and with all their strength, and I will gather them from amongst all the Gentiles, and they will seek me, so that I shall be found of them, when they seek me with all their heart and with all their soul. And I will disclose to them abounding shalom with righteousness, and I will remove them the plant of uprightness, with all my heart and with all my soul, and they shall be for a blessing and not for a curse, and they shall be the head and not the tail. And I will build my sanctuary in their midst, and I will dwell with them, and I will be Yahweh their sovereign ruler, and they shall be my people in truth and righteousness. And I will not forsake them nor fail them, for I am Yahweh their sovereign ruler. And Moshe fell on his face and prayed and said, O Yahweh my sovereign ruler, do not forsake your people and your inheritance, so that they should wander in the error of their hearts, and do not deliver them into the hands of their enemies, the Gentiles, lest they should rule over them and cause them to sin against you. Let your mercy, O Yahweh, be lifted up upon your people, and create in them an upright spirit, and let not the spirit of Belial rule over them to accuse them before you, and to ensnare them from all the paths of righteousness, so that they may perish from before your face. But they are your people and your inheritance, which you have delivered with your great power from the hands of the Egyptians. Create in them a clean heart and a kodesh spirit, and let them not be ensnared in their sins from henceforth until eternity. And Yahweh said to Moses, I know their contrariness and their thoughts and their stiff-neckedness, and they will not be obedient till they confess their own sin and the sin of their fathers. And after this they will turn to me in all uprightness, and with all their heart and with all their soul, and I will circumcise the foreskin of their heart and the foreskin of the heart of their seed, and I will create in them a kodesh spirit, and I will cleanse them so that they shall not turn away from me from that day unto eternity. And their souls will cleave to me and to all my commandments, and they will fulfill my commandments, and I will be their Abba, Father, and they shall be my children. And they all shall be called children of the living Yahweh, and every Malach and every spirit shall know, yes, they shall know that these are my children, and that I am their Abba in uprightness and righteousness, and that I love them. And do you write down for yourself all these words which I declare unto you on this mountain, the first and the last, which shall come to pass in all the divisions of the days in the Torah, and in the testimony, and in the weeks, and the jubilees unto eternity, until I descend and dwell with them throughout eternity. And he said to the Malach of the presence, Write for Moses from the beginning of creation till my sanctuary has been built among them for all eternity. And Yahweh will appear to the eyes of all, and all shall know that I am the sovereign ruler of Israel, and the Abba of all the children of Jacob, and king on Mount Zion for all eternity. And Zion and Jerusalem shall be Kodesh. And the Malach of the presence, who went before the camp of Israel, took the tables of the divisions of the years, from the time of the creation, of the Torah, and of the testimony of the weeks of the Jubilees, according to the individual years, according to all the number of the Jubilees, according to the individual years, from the day of the new creation when the heavens and the earth shall be renewed, and all their creation according to the powers of the heaven, and according to all the creation of the earth, until the sanctuary of Yahweh shall be made in Jerusalem on Mount Zion, and all the luminaries be renewed for healing and for shalom and for blessing for all the elect of Israel, and that thus it may be from that day and unto all the days of the earth.
That is the end of Jubilees 1. In Jubilees 2, as events unfold, Moses is given the complete history from creation, and the Malach of the presence spoke to Moses according to the word of Yahweh, saying, Write the complete history of the creation, how in 6 days Yahweh Almighty finished all his works and all that he created, and kept Shabbat on the 7th day and hallowed it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. For on the 1st day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth and the waters, and all the spirits which serve before him, the Malachim of the presence, and the Malachim of sanctification, and the Malachim of the spirit of fire, and the Malachim of the spirit of the winds, and the Malachim of the spirit of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoar frost, and the Malachim of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and the Malachim of the spirits of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and of all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses and the darkness, eventide and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon we saw his works, and praised him, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the 1st day. And on the 2nd day he created the firmament in the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below the firmament, that was, in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work Yahweh created on the 2nd day. And on the 3rd day he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside of this firmament, and the dry land appeared. And on that day he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and the gatherings of the waters in the mountains, and on all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of the wood, and the garden of Eden, in Eden and all. These 4 great works Yahweh created on the 3rd day. And on the fourth day he created the sun and the moon and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And Yahweh appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days, and for Shabbats, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Shabbats of years, and for jubilees, and for all seasons of the years. And it divides the light from the darkness, and for prosperity, that all things may prosper which shoot and grow on the earth. These three kinds he made on the fourth day. And on the fifth day he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters. For these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands, the fish and everything that moves in the waters, and everything that flies, the birds and all their kind. And the sun rose above them to prosper them, and above everything that was on the earth, everything that shoots out of the earth, and all fruit-bearing trees, and all flesh. These three kinds he created on the fifth day. And on the sixth day he created all the animals of the earth, and all cattle, and everything that moves on the earth. And after all this he created man. A man and a woman created he them, and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth, and in the seas, and over everything that flies, and over beasts, and over cattle, and over everything that moves on the earth, and over the whole earth, and over all this he gave him dominion. And these four kinds he created on the sixth day. And there were altogether 22 kinds. And he finished all his work on the sixth day, all that is in the heavens and on the earth, and in the seas and in the abysses, and in the light and in the darkness, and in everything. And he gave us a great sign, the Shabbat day, that we should work 6 days, but keep Shabbat on the seventh day from all work. And all the malachim of the presence and all the malachim of sanctification, these two great classes, he has bidden us to keep the Shabbat with him in heaven and on earth. And he said to us, Behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples, and these shall keep the Shabbat day, and I will sanctify them unto myself as my people, and will bless them. As I have sanctified the Shabbat day, and do sanctify it unto myself, even so will I bless them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their sovereign ruler. And I have chosen the seed of Jacob from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I will teach them the Shabbat day, that they may keep Shabbat thereon from all work. And thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should keep Shabbat with us on the seventh day, to eat and to drink, and to bless him who has created all things as he has blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples, and that they should keep Shabbat together with us. And he caused his commands to ascend as a sweet savoir acceptable before him all the days. There were 22 heads of mankind from Adam to Jacob, and 22 kinds of work were made until the seventh day. This is blessed and Kodesh, and the former also is blessed and Kodesh, and this one serves with that one for sanctification and blessing. And to this, Jacob and his seed, it was granted that they should always be the blessed and Kodesh ones of the first testimony in Torah, even as he had sanctified and blessed the Shabbat day on the seventh day. He created heaven and earth and everything that he created in 6 days, and Yahweh made the seventh day Kodesh for all his works. Therefore he commanded on its behalf that whoever does any work thereon shall die, and that he who defiles it shall surely die. Wherefore do you command the children of Israel to observe this day, that they may keep it Kodesh, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it, as it is more Kodesh than all other days. And whoever profanes it shall surely die, and whoever does thereon any work shall surely die eternally, that the children of Israel may observe this day throughout their generations, and not be rooted out of the land. For it is a Kodesh day and a blessed day. And everyone who observes it and keeps Shabbat thereon from all his work will be Kodesh and blessed throughout all days like unto us. Declare and say to the children of Israel the Torah of this day, both that they should keep Shabbat thereon, and that they should not forsake it in the error of their hearts, and that it is not lawful to do any work thereon which is unseemly, to do thereon their own pleasure, and that they should not prepare thereon anything to be eaten or drunk, and that it is not lawful to draw water, or bring in or take out thereon through their gates any burden, which they had not prepared for themselves on the 6th day in their dwellings. And they shall not bring in nor take out from house to house on that day. For that day is more Kodesh and blessed than any Jubilee day of the Jubilees. On this we kept Shabbat in the heavens before it was made known to any flesh to keep Shabbat thereon on the earth. And the Creator of all things blessed it, but he did not sanctify all peoples and nations to keep Shabbat thereon, but Yisrael alone. Them alone he permitted to eat and drink and to keep Shabbat thereon on the earth. And the Creator of all things blessed this day which he had created for blessing, and making it Kodesh and splendid above all days. This Torah and testimony was given to the children of Yisrael as a Torah forever unto their generations. Anyway, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you learned something new or enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe to this channel for similar videos. Have a good morning.